Hello everyone, this is James Shore with another touch-driven development video. Today is August 25th. I'm picking up where I left off, working on getting persistence going on our app. It's been a long time coming and I'm really excited to get into it. Unfortunately, we're not going to get directly to persistence. What we're going to start out with is a little bit more UI. Specifically, we're going to do File, New in the menu. So we're going to do a File menu with a new command. And way back when I first started doing UI, like episode 19 or 20, I wrote this little spike. And in that spike, I did a menu. So I didn't have to do a whole lot of research to figure out how to do menus. I just looked at my old spike, which is why I keep these things around, by the way. So here's that spike. The menu is pretty simple. You create a menu bar, and then you add a menu object. And the object has an action, and the action has looks like a name and keystroke stuff. And I don't know if File New is going to have an automatic keystroke or not. Probably not to start with. But then that item also has the action listener, which is what makes it go. So that's what we need to do. And as usual for UI, the trick, UI is harder to test than just about anything. I mean, databases are trivial in comparison. They've got their issues. They're kind of annoying, but they're trivial in comparison. So as usual, the challenge for us is going to be figure out how to test this puppy. So let's go back to our UI. The place we're going to hook this in is the application frame. And the application frame, let's see, it has configure window, that sets up the location and so forth. So that would be interesting because that's where we're going to hook in the persistence of location and size. So there'll be some persistence connection there. Then we've got the content pane, which has the forecast table and the configuration panel. And the forecast table and configuration panel, of course, this is the forecast table, this table here, and this piece is the configuration panel. So what we're going to want to add is the menu to that. Let's go ahead and pull up the tests for that and see how we're dealing with that. Layout properly, scroll pane. Yeah, okay. Configuration panel, very straightforward. Make sure we're using the correct model. Yeah, okay. So, well, I think this is going to be pretty straightforward. What we want to do is assert that we've got a menu bar, and then we can go from there. So the menu bar is something we set, so presumably we can get it, right? I do complain about swing a bit, but it's usually pretty easy to get at stuff, thank goodness. So let's see what happens. There's the components. And then let's say assert not null should have menu bar. Frame dot get. I'm going to wait for swing to catch up with me here. Get menu bar. So that should fail. Let's wake up Fred. Somebody suggested a clever name for him, but I don't remember what it was, so I'm just going to call him Fred. Fred the Ninja Accountant. All right, Ninja Accountant, we should see a failure, and then a pass. And, let's make Fred happy. Make sure everything was working before we started. And then we'll make him fail. So This, by the way, I could do this all day and level Fred up to Master Ninja, which is the problem with having accountants judge your performance. So, yes, we should have a menu bar, and which is why Fred's a great toy, but a terrible. Don't ever use something like that to decide if your programmers are good or not, for obvious reasons. So, yeah, we should have a menu bar. Add components, configure window. How about create menu? Still going to have a menu bar. Fred's going to complain about that. Yes. Grr. All right. Now, how do we create that menu? We just set menu bar, new J menu bar. I think it's that simple. No, it's not. Let me look at that again. Oh, come on, swing. Oh, actually, it's Eclipse. Set menu bar, new menu bar, new J menu bar. Well, why isn't that working? It's not the frame we're supposed to set it on. What are we supposed to set it on? A J frame. What do we have? Oh, for crying out loud. Set J menu bar? That's interesting. Oh, we are doing, okay, I'm just dumb. And that should come as no surprise to you, dear listener. So there we go. Oh, it did not work. Because I'm saying get menu bar, not get J menu bar. See, this is why, yeah, this is why manual checks are important, because I could, you know, I can just code away asserting that what I believe is true without ever actually checking if what I believe is true. So technically that's created a menu bar, but it doesn't do anything. So next, I think we're going to want to let's go ahead and make our own tester on this. So it should lay out properly, but it should also have a menu. So we've got a menu. It's not doing anything. So I think now it'd be a good idea to put in, we have a menu bar. It'd be a good idea to put in an actual menu. So what do we want to do? Well, we want a file menu. So let's say we have a menu. So we're going to pull this out. See what we can do with it. Can we get the menu off of it? Get menu, get menu, get menu count. Interesting. Yeah, should have just one menu. Expected one was 0, perfect. So here we are creating the menu. Let's pull that out, do that at the end. New bar dot create menu. No, how do we do that? we add a new J menu. I believe that will work. Yep. And then our menu should actually be File menu. So let's assert on the title. Once we start localizing, which actually is unlikely we'll ever do that, this test becomes insufficient, but at that point more complicated things will be appropriate. So our menu bar dot get menu 0 get text. No idea if this is going to work. That should say expected file was null or was empty. Was empty, it looks like. So now we'll go ahead and create it with a file. By the way, I've never, other than that spike, which was about a year ago or 9 months ago, I've never looked at this aspect of Swing. So I'm literally using the test to sort of explore the API. And Swing is straightforward enough, or at least named well enough that I can kind of do this. But I do have to do lots of manual checking to double check that I'm doing it right. So there's our menu bar. That's good in a sense, bad in another, because it's in the wrong spot. It should be up here. So let's go back to our swing spike. That's not doing anything special. Nope, not doing anything special, so I'm guessing this has to do with the way we run it. Yeah, if you look, this little miracle here, I'm pretty sure is what makes that work properly. So we're going to add that to our run script. Yep. Still isn't working. I must have done that wrong. Let's pull it up here. Okay, so there's our run. Class path, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it looks like the -d has to come first. Let's try it now. There we go. There's our file. Now you'll note I didn't write a test around that. And maybe that's a flaw in the way I approached this, but it's sort of a fundamental configuration issue. It's one that we need to address properly. Right now, this is just sort of a hack. The run.sh, of course, is not how we're going to expect anybody else to actually run this application. This is a development hack. So I'm not testing it because it's not real code yet. It's not production code. It's just sort of scaffolding. So what I need to do is down here, when I do a proper build, I need to Mac needs to use Mac menu bar currently configured with -d option in run.sh. So we're getting some initial stabs at this. We do have our file menu. Now we need to get the new option in there. Looks like next time we'll get the new option in and we'll probably actually start touching the file system, which will be pretty cool. So looking forward to that. Hope you are too, and I will see you next time.